So if you're looking for a big Core XY printer, you really only have a few options. The Voron 2.4, the Sovol SV08, and the new Creality K2 Plus. I did a video reviewing the Creality K2 Plus, but let's look at this really budget option. What's going on? I'm Dylan from Saturday Morning Props, where I teach all things 3D printing, from tips and tricks to full cosplays like Iron Man, life-size Pokemon, and things like that. And in this video, we're going to talk about the Sovol SV08. So this printer was sent to me by Sovol, but it wasn't for a review. They're not seeing this video at all, and it was actually just for me to build a project and give feedback for. But of course I'm going to do a review for it because I think it's good information. And I definitely won't be holding any punches back. There are definitely things I do not like about this printer, but there's a lot of good. Like I said at the beginning, there's not a lot of big Core XY printers. I'm not a Voron guy, but you have the Voron 2.4, which is another 350 by 350 build volume. And then you have the Creality K2 Plus, which is a super fancy bamboo clone type thing. Both have much higher price points than this printer, being like under $600. Big Core XY printers are the dream. A large build volume is awesome for big props and things like that. And when you have a bed slinger that is huge, because I have an Elegoo Neptune 3 Max or whatever that is, when you have something that's so big and the bed is shaking back and forth, when you get to those tall heights, it's not as stable. So Core XY, meaning the bed doesn't have to move at all and it's just the nozzle moving around, is awesome. This printer has a build volume of 350 by 350 by 340, but kind of. I'll explain more about that in the weaknesses section. It's 700 millimeters per second because it has linear rails, but I'm not a huge speed guy. I do appreciate that printers have gotten faster, but at the same time, I can't finish props as fast as I can actually print them. So I end up with a backlog of just tons of raw prints in the house if it goes too fast. One of the biggest strengths for this printer is that it uses Clipper and it's completely open sourced. But for me, I'm actually not a crazy tinkerer, so that actually doesn't mean that much to me. I prefer plug and play already set up systems. But it being open source and using that Clipper does mean that you have limitless things to manipulate for quality. You can really dial in this printer if you know how. But as an average consumer that likes to make toys and props and things like that, that is completely unnecessary for me. As I mentioned earlier, it uses linear rails, which is awesome for speed and precision. The printer comes with profiles for Orca Slicer, and Orca Slicer automatically has them in there. It only had a few layer height settings. I think it only came with 0.2 originally, and now there's 0.2 and 0.18 on there. But I heard because the specs are the same, you can actually use Voron 2.4s. I haven't tried that out yet, but they have a multitude of different layer qualities already in Orca. I need to give that a shot. The screen system and UI is a click wheel system that I don't love using. I feel like I spin past the settings that I want too easily. But it has an HDMI slot that allows you to add your own screen to run different Clipper things. But again, I'm not that tinkerer. I'm not going to be adding another screen to it and having to do all that. I appreciate the UI software on the Creality K2 and that I already have the touchscreen on there. Another thing is the Wi-Fi setup is a pain in the butt. There's a bunch of hoops that you have to jump through, and for me, I just end up using a USB thumbstick to transfer my prints over to the printer. I don't know how that compares to the Voron, but it's definitely not as good as the K2 system. Another awesome thing is it has some parts that are like clones of the bamboos. The nozzle is pretty much a bamboo clone, and it also has that nozzle rubber brush cleaning system on there, which is really nice. Stock, it doesn't come with an enclosure that's actually purchasable later, but I actually end up getting one because I'm going to be moving this printer out into my garage. The printer does have a high heating bed and nozzle, so you can print those fancier filaments, but you're going to need that enclosure. But I pretty much just print PLA. It comes with a camera and filament runout sensor, so again, it's better than the Voron in a lot of ways, but still either equal to or less than the K2. It comes 90% assembled, but it's, so again, better than the Voron 2.4, where you're going to put 40 hours building that thing in, or the Creality K2, which takes minutes to do. I didn't love building this printer. It has these deep screws into the uprights, which I actually end up buying a ratcheting Allen wrench to get to. It does come with a little screwdriver Allen wrench that I guess was meant for those spots, but it's not my favorite thing to do. You kind of have to flex the frame to get the gantry in there, and it just wasn't ideal. I had to take a break and come back to it because you never want to work on a printer frustrated. But overall, cable management and things like that were done really well. If you're liking the content, like, comment, subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Drop a comment down below what printer you're looking for or which one you use right now. So let's talk about the strengths of this printer. Most of the strengths are much better than the Voron, but really nothing better than the K2. Besides TPU, in my Creality K2 video, people asked about TPU where the CFS color changing system says not to run TPU through it. Because the Sovol SV08 is big and open, you can run the TPU straight into the hot end and print at a slower speed very easily, and then you could do big TPU projects. Had the K2 not just released, the SV08 would have a lot of strengths, but again, strengths compared to the Voron, but less than the K2. Like assembling. Overall, not a bad build, way better than 40 hours in the Voron, but less than the K2. The size is a big strength. 350 by 350 is a wonderful size and puts it out of the realm of the bamboo. This allowed me to do huge projects. I was able to do the chest of my battle droid in one shot, rather than having to split it, so it's now structurally stronger for a big droid. Same thing like another droid's hips I was able to do on that printer. And then I did this goofy giant turkey from Friends, and I was able to do really big pieces on this printer. And the quality came out awesome. I've printed the chest for the droid on a bamboo as well as this printer here, and man, they both look identical, so it's amazing that it matches that quality. But I'm not shocked with that clone of a hot end. Also, the price is a huge strength of this. This is the cheapest printer of this build volume. It's cheaper than the Voron and better than the Voron in so many ways, and definitely cheaper than the Creality K2 as well. And you're not going to have to deal with the stock issues. Let's talk about the weaknesses though. The bed had like high and low spots, and so you have to manually put in your Z offset, and so mine would be like negative 0.05, but even when I did that, there was high spots on the bed, so it would be really thin in those areas, but then in the other sections, it would be low, and so that would be a good layer, but on the high spots, it would be too thin. And that's where Sovol had said, oh, well, outside of the 310 is where it gets a little finicky. I took off the magnetic build plate and tightened down some of these Allen wrenches, and it fixed that problem. Luckily, there were screws near those high spots. People have mentioned that you need to heat soak this printer, which means you need to turn it up to the 60 degrees, whatever you guys are doing for your bed heating. Do that before starting printing, before running calibration, every single time. Which is another pain point that you have to put in the Z offset every time you turn on the printer. If you have the printer running all the time, you don't have to worry about it, but as soon as you turn it off and then turn it back on, you have to put the Z offset back in. And I would not run this printer all the time. This printer is super loud. I'm sure the enclosure would help some of the regular noises of this printer, but one that it's not going to help is the fan by the motherboard. That thing is very loud and it runs continuously. But with a printer this size and being so big, it's not one that you're going to be really putting in your bedroom or in an office like this. It's probably going to be in a dedicated printing room. So that may not be an issue for you. For me, I'm going to be moving that one down to the garage. I also already mentioned that the Wi-Fi is a big pain to do. Their Sovol SV06 Ace has a just plug-and-play system where it attaches to the Wi-Fi. Here is a lot different. There's a big process that they can walk you through, and it's doable. It's just a pain. I don't know how that compares to a Voron, but to the Creality, it's way harder. My biggest pain point in this printer is loading the filament. It has a spring-loaded system on the hot end where you push the filament through and you have to move it and then get it down in there. The filament never wants to go into the hole. You're trying to leave this squished, but then trying to feed this. But when you're feeding the filament in, it's moving the Bowden tube and wiggling all around. There's no tension, so you can't push strong enough to get it to actually seat over here. I always have to undo the Bowden tube and stick the filament in myself. I'm pretty sure in Fohammers he said that he gets it fine, and I completely disagree. I've used this printer a ton, and maybe once has it ever actually slotted in perfectly. I always end up removing the Bowden tube, sticking it in, and then reinserting the Bowden tube. Oh, and I almost forgot. The power consumption is pretty crazy on this thing. To heat the bed, it initially pulls 1,000 watts and then lowers itself down to 300 watts. I put this on a universal power supply and watched it go in there, and it made the power supply even freak out. This printer makes my room lights flicker like crazy. I mentioned in my Creality video that one, it slightly does make the lights flicker a little bit. I can run 3 bamboos and no flicker at all, but with this printer, they go crazy. That's another reason why this thing is going out in the garage. But yeah, the printer's really good. Is it a beginner-friendly printer? Probably not. It is not plug and play like the K2 and other printers that are out there right now. You have assembling and you have Z offsets and you have calibrations and things like that that you have to do. Whereas something like the Creality K2, I brought it in, it took no time to assemble, and then boom, it was printing. But a Voron, 40-hour build time, a lot of tweaking and things like that as well, making sure you built it correctly in the first place, can put in a whole bunch of, factors into whether it levels well and things like that. So again, it beats the Voron, it beats the pants off the Voron. But then when it comes to the Creality K2, that's a higher price point, but you get a lot of quality amenities. I hope this helps you decide. It's not super hard to where like you have to be a major tinkerer to use this thing, but at the same time, it's not as plug and play if you are truly just a beginner and somebody that just wants something to work right away. Check another video after this, like the K2 review. Love you guys. Peace.